It's another beautiful day, and it's a delight to come your way this morning on Global Television. It is a bright day, and of course, every day comes with its own blessing, and today has come with its own blessing, and we are here to bring you to speed with things happening from Nigeria and around the world. This beautiful day, intensive conversations also coming on your way this morning. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and of course, Priscilla Obasi is here. Good morning, Priscilla.
Good morning, Ramsey. Good morning, Nigeria. And thank you for always taking your time to join us on Global Morning. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Appears rainy in some parts of Abuja. Drizzling almost all through the night from my own area.
Yeah, I think it was same. It was same with my area today.
So the rainy season, July always comes with this, intensity of rain. I think it's a bit worse of August with the August rain. And then we get the
August break, right?
Yes, and no, it comes with, there's the August rain, and then there's a break in between. Something
okay, the rain stops.
And then it comes back September, thereabout, until it winds away. But when I was quite younger, I didn't used to like the rainy season, particularly because it's prevented me from playing around. Everything gets messed up. I don't know, I just do not like that, messy, wet environment. But adulthood has taught you to understand that the rainy season is a time to plant, is a time to expect food, to till the ground. So you have to adjust that mindset. But it's a beautiful day and we're expecting the best. We're optimistic that today is going to be productive. I hope you are too, dear viewers. Conversations are building from different angles. Yesterday, there was a court ruling on the ADC, or do I say against the ADC? We don't know. 2027 is appearing interesting every single day. The continuous voter registration also continued in another, would I say, it took another turn or another shape yesterday with key players on ground to sensitize Nigerians. At the same time, I was wondering, is that enough? How many Nigerians knew what happened yesterday? How many people have their voters card already? How many people are believing in the voting system again? How many people are making up their mind that regardless of what we've seen in the previous years, we'll go again 2027? All of this is what makes us Nigerians, is what helps us build the democracy we want to build. We know it's been challenging, right? It's been a challenging time for a lot of Nigerians, and our leaders have not failed to acknowledge all of that fact. But we keep our hopes alive, hoping that one day, just one day, it's going to get better. Of course, we all have to play our own part in making it better. Nigeria shall be great again. What can I say?
There's always a one day. Well, there's no other way to be optimistic. Nigeria will be great again. And of course, teachers were protesting yesterday, and I saw the placard, and I was like, well, everything they wrote on the placard, all right? Teachers this, teachers that, our future, our education, well, not to pity teachers, not teachers are not for condolence, and all of that, And I felt something, because I can remember back in the days when we were still in school, they do tell us that we are the future of tomorrow, the leaders of the tomorrow, which is the future. And if the education sector, one of the things that I have come to realize about these kidnappers, these abductors, is the fact that there is more target on schools. Some people are of the opinion that they actually do that so they could abduct more people, because the more the people, the larger the ransom they would be asking for. But then when you begin to target schools, that's one of the areas that I think the federal government and the security operatives should not take for a joke at all. Because if anything happened to it already, people are complaining about the educational system. People don't go to public school anymore, except if you don't have an option. Right? People now patronize private schools more because they feel that is where the real thing is happening. But the public school, even though some teachers are actually trying their best, but then a lot of people have said, well, if I can't afford a private school, I should get a home teacher for my child and all of that. And one very particular thing is the fact that the basics, if you miss the basics, you have problem, because that is more like the foundation. So when I see kidnappers or abductors, picking children, imagine the ordinary kids, pupils for that matter. So what's the intention? Even the secondary school say, okay, probably these ones are big at least, but maybe they want to do something that the people will feel it more and will prompt more reactions. But then I want to sympathize with the teachers this morning. NUT, your protest, well, I think we are looking forward to a positive response, because it's not just the protest. After protesting, what will be the next line of action from the authorities?
Well, it's still the same cry. We've been about this very topic since the last, at least intensely for the last 1 year in Nigeria. The whole school kidnapping started during the Chibok girls in the Goodluck Jonathan era, and I feel like it was a testing ground for them to see the reaction of Nigerians. We've also seen a few incidents, across all the schools. And this Orure local government in Oyo State school was, for me, the very high point of it all. We do not pray to see something worse than this, because it was a moment of tension for every single Nigerian. It was a moment of a bit fear, because the only thing that went through my mind was how were these kids coping in the rains? Every night when it rains, or anytime I just see the rain, I'm just thinking about the students that have been kidnapped and wondering if they are in good hands. But thankfully, they have been released. I don't know whatever condition they met to release them. I don't know how they kept them, because when I saw the picture, the video clips that was released out there and was made known to the public, it looked as though they were being taken care of. I saw today, I think this early hours of this morning, a popular Nigerian actor putting his own thoughts out there on social media, saying, whatever politics we are playing, please, let's try not to involve children in it. These children are innocent. We cannot keep playing politics and trying to carry or indict or make children at that disadvantage. It's so inhumane. I don't even know the word. It's gross.
There are some things that up till now, there are some things that happened when I was a child that I've not forgotten. When I was a child, as in a child, nursery, even pre-nursery, that I have not forgotten. So sometimes you sit down and think, would these children ever forget this experience? They might be taken care of. It could be that they took good care of them. But then separating them from their parents, for that long time, about 50-something days, it's a long time. And these children, don't be surprised that some of them may not be able to forget this in a short time.
Of course, it's going to be a traumatic.
It's a traumatic situation.
It's going to be a trauma for
seeing some men with guns around you. You are not with mommy. You are not with daddy.
The worst part of this abduction is that when these people are released, at best we take them to the hospital. You don't know that they need mental evaluation.
Yeah, they need to be fine too.
Psychological evaluation for a period of even months, for them to be able to get over the trauma, because you have not just damaged their health, you've damaged their mental health. And mental health is not something we take very serious in this part of the world. We feel like as long as you are, you can smile, you're okay. As long as you can have food to eat, you're okay. But
people don't know what's happening
there's
inside.
something called mental health, and it has a way of affecting your entire life. It has a way of shortening your lifespan. It has a way of just having you contribute negatively to the society. There's a ripple effect, and if we do not understand the gravity of such incident, if we don't understand how the lasting impact that this can leave on a human being, because children are no less, in short, for a child is even worse off because they are just forming. So they can carry this mindset throughout life and think that this is how life to be, that this is how life is, the way they will respond if they get to that stage of getting married, the way they will respond to their spouses because of this thing, the way they will respond to colleagues at work eventually if they grow up and all of that. So they need to be evaluated, they need to be taken care of mental wise, else this would not be funny on those children and even the adults in that environment. So kidnapping is just beyond the physical torture. I really want us to look at it.
Even though no one is killed,
yes,
but then it's beyond. So, but more attention is given to the physical.
Two people lost their lives in this incident.
2 people lost their lives.
2 people, 2 teachers. And the worst part of this is that these people were at the point of duty when this thing happened. They were in their schools, teaching, carrying out their duty. So, are you going to accuse them of being lazy? What Nigeria has just happened to them in the wrongest way. It is so sad. These are teachers that don't even have enough salaries to take care of themselves, that are basically patching life. And then in the midst of the suffering, in the midst of the hardship, in the midst of the lack, you still add torture to them while they are trying to stay diligent, stay hardworking in Nigeria. I mean, what kind of trauma? What is worse off than trauma?
I think that is a very serious situation, and of course, all we are saying now is that something needs to be done, at least to forestall peace, so that this doesn't happen again. Yesterday, we were talking about if it is possible, there should be security operatives. I remember when the bombing started in Nigeria, all right, back in the years, a lot of churches, schools have checkpoints, have securities all around. Why did that stop? We should also have security operatives, trained security operatives. Spend money. If you own a school, spend money to train your security operatives. If you don't have money to get the national security operatives like the police, the civil defense and all of that, your private security outfits, can be trained. And there are private security outfits that are doing very well. So you can get them just for the safety of the pupils, the students, and even the worship centers, the people who go to worship. Well, at this point, we will take a quick break. After this break, we'll give you just something very small to see if we would be able to influence your breakfast this morning. That is, if you've not had one already. Coming up next is Taste and Texture.
Hello everyone and welcome to Taste and Texture. Today we are going to be preparing boiled plantain and egg sauce. For the boiled plantain, we'll be needing the following: ripe fresh plantain, knife and clean pot, water. Here is the process of preparing boiled plantain. Wash and cut or dice your fresh ripe plantain into few pieces. In a clean pot, add your diced and washed ripe plantains. Add water, salt and cover to cook for few minutes. Drop and drain the water, and then after a few minutes peel the boiled plantain and set aside. For the egg sauce, we will be needing a few fresh pieces of raw eggs. In a clean bowl, break your raw eggs and whisk. Get your clean frying pan and add oil to fry. Add your pepper, mix and stir for a few minutes. Then add Maggi and other seasoning of your choice. Then stir and add corned beef. Optional. Also stir your already whisked eggs and finally add parsley and stir it. Our boiled plantain and egg sauce is ready. That's it on this episode of the show. I hope you will try this recipe at home. Join me again on Taste and Texture next time. I am Sadia Yakubu. See you again.
Well, I'll say this is adult food. It's yummy though. When I was a child, I didn't like boiled anything. I preferred it fried. But adulthood has taught me that too much of oil is not good, cholesterol and all of that. So we're not conscious of our nutrition. How many Nigerians even have the luxury of, trying to consider what is good or what is not good for your health? Basically, everybody's just praying for food to eat. And when you have food to eat, you're good to go. But you need to check these things, right? Because they say you are what you eat. If you don't want to eat if you don't eat medicine as food, you have to eat your food as medicine. So it means you have to be conscious, very conscious of what you take in. But this is a very good inspiration for you to have that breakfast done. Like my colleague said, if you've not had your breakfast yet already, and even if you've had, this can also go for lunch, if you ask me. So nice inspiration for you. Next off is another kind of inspiration, but this time around to your soul, right? Food is for the belly, and belly is for the food. But let's inspire your mind this morning with Inspirational by Ramsey Enoch Abo. Over to you, Ramsey.
I want to say your day is blessed. Why do I have to say so? Because you are a blessed child. Because God have something very beautiful packed for this day for you. But then I want us to look at something very beautiful today. Let's talk heart to heart. It takes someone who cares about you to talk to your heart to heart. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Now, I want us to speak to our hearts on a very powerful subject that is titled Guard Your Hope. All right, guard your hope, guard it. Your hope, guard it. Don't do it anyhow, just guard it. Yeah, of course, we're living in a very difficult time. Everyone is aware of that, but then many people are tired, many people are frustrated. Prices are rising, jobs are scarce, businesses are struggling on a daily basis. And of course, many young people are asking questions. When will things get better? Sometimes some kids at home even ask their parents, because some parents complain every time. Why are we facing all of this? When are things going to be better? Sometimes you think these things are peculiar to you alone. No, it's not. It's not peculiar to you alone. The way you handle situations matters so much. But in the middle of all these challenges, one thing you must never lose is your hope. Guard it, no matter what. Because they said a living dog is better than a dead lion. And that's the truth. Because the day a person loses hope is the day they stop fighting for a better future. Nigeria, for instance, it's built on hope. Every morning, Nigerians wake up early, enter buses, open their shops, go to farm, some go to their offices, some go to the market, some go to the construction site, depending on what you are doing. That is someone that has hope. All right? You won't just sit down and fold your arms. These things are being done because they still believe that tomorrow can be better. Powerful. Now, hope is a powerful thing. A student reading with a torchlight, all right, doing blackout is operating on hope. A mother that is selling akara by the roadside today as we speak to train her children is surviving on hope. A graduate, for instance, all right, learning a skill after years of unemployment is holding on to hope. So what am I trying to say? Hope is what keeps people moving when life becomes difficult. That's why you need to guard your hope. You need to protect your hope. You don't need to allow anyone bring negativity to you. All right? Keep pushing. And that's the reason you need to guard your hope. But now, let us also be honest. Hope is under serious attack today. A lot of people's hope is under serious attack today, because most times someone told me something some times back, and they said, well, there are some channels I don't watch because the moment you put it on, only negative news. War here, this one here, this one that, negative news, disappointments, betrayals. Those are the things you watch. Failed promises, hardship, of course. Comparison on social media is everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. I don't know, a lot of people, most times, people talk about social media today because we are in a digital age, of course. And, you know, if you begin to compare yourself with what you see on social media, right, which may not be real, what does it do? It weakens people. It weakens your mentality. It weakens people's belief. It destroys your hope. Because you feel, well, this person is like this, why am I not like that? This person is also a graduate. No, these are people operating on different chapters. Some people even started this year with dreams, but along the line, discouragement entered their hearts. As we speak today, a lot of people, if you ask them today, all right, you had a lot of resolutions, things you want to achieve in 2026 when this year got started. But where are you today? Some people don't even know where that paper is right now as we speak, because their hope has been dashed. And that is why you must guard your hope carefully. Don't allow temporary situations to convince you that your future is finished. Never. Your future is not finished. No, you don't need to be negative. You don't need to sound negative. One thing that I never do and I will never do is staying around negative people. Most times I mind my business. Where there is negativity, where there is bad blood, I avoid it. That's my kind of person. Because there are some things you don't need to give your ears to. There are some things you don't need to hear. Deliberately move out of such associations, such gatherings, if you can. But then try as much as possible, especially when it's affecting your hope and your belief. Especially when it's affecting your journey of destiny. Many successful Nigerians today once passed through painful seasons. There are even business owners today who once sold products under the hot sun with no customers. There are actors, musicians, journalists like we are, and even entrepreneurs who were rejected many times before succeeding. Have you not gone for an interview before and you were treated like, wow, you don't know anything? But there is an organization somewhere who needs your services. So I tell people all the time, don't be where you are tolerated. Always be where you are celebrated. Right? One thing that is permanent is change. That's the only constant thing. Imagine if they had given up. Hope does not mean pretending problems do not exist. Problems exist. For real. Yeah, that's it. But hope means believing that problems are not permanent. They come and go. They are transient. There is a popular Nigerian saying that no condition is permanent, and that's very true. The rain does not actually fall forever. The night does not last forever. Tough seasons eventually change. But while waiting for change, protect your mindset. Guard your heart jealously, because out of it comes the issue of life. Even the Holy Book says so. Dare be careful who speak into your life. Yeah, be careful. I think that's very important. Be careful who speak into your life. If anybody is speaking negative thing into your life, if anybody is telling you, you have this, you have that, and it is a negative statement, return it back to them immediately. Reject it. Because you are a hopeful person, but because you may not be where you are expecting to be at a very particular point in time, does not mean you are not going to get there. So don't allow anyone talk you down. Don't allow anyone mess your destiny up because they are at a very maybe peak of their life, or maybe because they have one position or the other, or maybe they are richer, or maybe they have more opportunity than you are at a very particular point in time. Don't allow anyone talk you down. Don't allow anyone say negative things into your ear all the time. Anyone that tells you you can't, always stay hopeful. Guard your hope and tell them you can. No should not be an answer. It should not be something you take. All right? So, as a matter of fact, some people destroy hope with negativity, like I said, and every day they speak fear, they speak failure, they speak discouragement, they stay around people who inspire. You see, one thing you need to do, people who destroy your inspiration are not worth staying around them. You don't need them. You don't need them. People who are always discouraging you, people who are always promoting failure, people who are always speaking fear, you don't need to stay around them, all right? What do you have to do? Try as much as possible to stay around people who inspire growth, wisdom, faith, and stop comparing your life with others. Social media, I keep saying this, has made people feel behind in life. No. Some buy new cards online and another person suddenly feel like, oh, this, when, oh God, when? Listen carefully. Your journey is different from every other person. Some people bloom today, some people blow early, like Nigerians will say, and others blow later. So blow, not blow. Success, not success. It depends on when yours comes, all right? So do everything and stay positive, and be careful who you listen to. Be careful what you allow into your ear, into your heart, because out of the heart, all right, so many things comes out. So guard your hope jealously. Have a wonderful time. I believe someone has been talked to positively. I wish you all the best. See you at the other side of success. Bye-bye for now.
Glad to have you join us. We observed active weather systems in several parts of the country in the past 24 hours. Heading into Tuesday, the weather is expected to be even more active, as heavy rains are expected during the early hours of the morning in the coastal parts of the country. Residents in the coastal parts of Lagos, Ogun, Ondo, Edo, and Delta states should prepare to take necessary precaution, as potential of flash floods are expected. The north and north-central region are expected to experience morning thunderstorms with more storm likelihood going into the afternoon and evening hours. Meanwhile, the southern parts of the country will experience moderate rains. That's the forecast. Stay weather ready and keep your umbrellas handy. Up next is the temperature forecast. I am Theodora Itu. Thank you for watching.
At Aerogym Shoe Factory, excellence starts from the ground up. Located at number 1 Pound Road behind Nigeria Correctional Service, Aba, Abia State. We produce 1,500 high-quality shoes every single day. Paramilitary shoes, safety boots, desert boots, ankle shoes, back-to-school footwear. All crafted with state-of-the-art equipment and built for strength, comfort, and durability. For reliable footwear that stands the test of time, choose Aerogym Shoes for better product, strong steps, smart style. For inquiries, call 091-264-53399 or 070-3009-3944 or 080-6573-8374 or call 081-3167-3668. Email info@aerogym.com. Website www.aerogymdesign.com. Aerogym. Walk with confidence. Walk with pride.
Well, I hope that has set your tone for today. I mean, the inspirational brought to you by Ramsey and Okubo. Now we go to the newspaper review segment, and we're starting with the Hope newspaper. Let's take the very first story, which is above the nameplate, top left corner. It reads, "We're proud of you, Afeni Fere, leader. Fasoranti eulogizes Wole Soyinka at 92. That's a milestone right there. A happy birthday to Professor Wole Soyinka. The next story, I beg your pardon, reads, Ondo HOS inaugurates committee for 2026 Public Service Week. Next story, which is the star story. Federal government approves 1,200 workers for Futa Teaching Hospital takeoff. Workers to join IPPIS receive salaries by August CMD. I like the way Nigerian universities, technology universities, are beginning to go into health-related courses and all. I don't know if it's a very good one for us, because I like the idea of focusing. I mean, our universities having a niche of focus. So what used to be known as technology universities now are beginning to have, teaching hospitals.
Okay, Federal University of Technology.
Exactly. I think FUTMINA too is also going that, line. To
teaching hospital.
To, have medical courses and all. I understand that too, though, because we are in a time where we don't have enough doctors.
Maybe, yeah.
Our doctors
probably.
Our doctors are leaving the country, so we need to train more, add more universities.
But is this the way to go, or to make them stay?
Exactly. So when we train more, at the end of the day, they still leave.
They slip out of our hands if they are not well taken care of.
Exactly. So, well,
it doesn't make much difference. but it's true. Focusing. See, I'm not trying to compare birth in advanced world. You focus, you start from the beginning, this is who I am, this is what I want to do. Every little thing, as you're sleeping, you're thinking about it. You wake up in the morning, everything. You go to school, this is what I'm doing, tech, But then, it might not affect those. It may not affect them.
It's really, like you mentioned, in the Western world, there are universities that when you come out of, because of the focus that university has had and has built over time, you just know that you can trust the products of that university. When they come and say, I am, I'm a technologist. Basically, you know that this person...
I like that word. You can trust the product of that university.
Yes,
So VCs, you better be proud now. You can hear that. How productive, how trustworthy are your products?
Are your products? But when we now have all of this, the question is, do we have a system that has been put in place to ensure that we get quality? It's not just about infusing more courses into the university. What is the quality of the product? Well, away from that, let's go to the next story that says federal government suspends 50,000 naira WAEC NECO fee hike over public outcry. I saw that, and people are saying, maybe because of the elections, nobody wants to step on toes this season.
Why did the guy even agree, the Minister of Education?
Well, I don't know. You want to read of that detail for that story. U.S. may take over Strait of Hormuz, demand payment of security, says allies must pay for waterway security. Gunmen abduct Oyo headmaster, demand 30 million naira ransom. Another abduction again, just after the release. ICPC arraigns ex-minister Naji over alleged forgery. Court grants ex-minister 20 million naira bail, seizes passport. Trial begins September 21st as ICPC files 6-count charge. Finally, we have appeal court upholds order barring INEC from derecognizing Mark-led ADC congresses. Well, it's a very turbulent one for the ADC. And all of those are your headlines brought to you by the Hope newspaper. The next point of call right here is the Nigerian News Direct.
All right, let's quickly look at the Nigerian News Direct for you and see the headlines that we have right there. On the Nigerian News Direct today, beginning from the big story, of course. The big story says, Oyo abduction. Why terrorists murder teachers, rescue principal narrates ordeal. I know for whatever reason, taking somebody's life is not the best. And of course, still on the Nigerian News Direct, this one says above the nameplate now. This one says, as a matter of fact, we talked about that some times back. Customs auction 20,500 liters of seized PMS in Lagos State. All right, we also have this one, which says NGX investors lose 1.3 trillion naira as trading opens negatively. Okay, still above the nameplate, we never granted Gombe access to nomination portal. INEC is the one saying that. We never granted Gombe access to nomination portal. All right, that's politics there for you. Atiku, Obi criticized federal government for reversing WAEC NECO fee policy. What does he want? He wants it to remain? Adeleke seeks visa ban on Oyetola, Fadusi, Oyebamiji, and others. If you want to know the reason why, you can pick a copy of the Nigerian News Direct. And of course, those are the headlines for you today from the Nigerian News Direct. Moving up next to the next point of call, we will bring to you the New Telegraph.
Okay, thank you very much, Ramsey. The New Telegraph has its first story, which I'll take. It's on the very top of the paper there. Recapitalization, investors shun insurance stock as sector records 122 billion naira loss. The next story, CBN survey shows business optimistic about economy. The next one reads, flood. Lagos issues heavy rain alert, urges residents to clear drains. Well, residents, you have a message from your dear governor. Federal government bows to pressure, suspends WAEC SSCE, WASE SSCE fees hike. Rather to that, accounts submits to review gains gap in Tinubu's education reform. Details on page 4 and 27. Appeal Court bars INEC from recognizing MARC-led ADC congresses. You want to read up that detail on page 4, 5, and 26. Buhari's first anniversary memorial. Tinubu, Gowon, others pay tribute. Details on page 2 and 5. The Star story. Illegal mining, money laundering, fueling insecurity that's coming from our dear House of Representatives. 6 security agencies, regulators support to end problem as Plateau miners link crime search to unlawful tin mining. Another one, Benue Plateau killings. MARC demands decisive action against bandits as Obi calls for urgent security overhaul. Next story, alleged forgery, money laundering. Ex-Minister Naji arraigned, pleads not guilty. Details on page 30. Tension at Yola Correctional Center as 2 high-profile inmates escape. That's a serious one. Enugu manhunt as suspect snatch police rifle, knocked down officer. Details on page 28. Released Orire principal. Children beaten into silence. Male teachers chained, blindfolded. Okay. Made dangerous midnight treks through forest to evade security operatives. Gunmen kidnap another school teacher in Oyo, demands 30 million naira ransom. Okay, it's becoming lucrative. At the end of the day, it's the lives that are being touched that is the painful part. PFIPC, truth has nothing to fear from independent probe. Adeyemi says, urges federal government to set up neutral panel to investigate controversy. Finally, University of Oxford develops new Ebola vaccine. Details on page 29. And those are your headlines for the New Telegraph. The next port of call is the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, let's quickly look at the Nigerian Tribune for you this morning. On the Nigerian Tribune, we have some very striking headlines. Above the nameplate, we have this one which says, Senate, reps set for harmonization of state police. And of course, some riders to that story. The first rider says, constitute an ad hoc committee on insertion of controversial PITPC budget into 2026 appropriation bill. And of course, we have another headline above the nameplate, appeal court restrain INEC from recognizing MAC-led ADC congresses. And of course, one of the riders says, ADC appeals ruling says it's legally unsustainable. All right, verdict doesn't affect our primaries, article and party. Well, it's a tug of war. All right, this one says Nigeria faces renewed crude output pressures as oil prices rise above budget benchmark. Federal government suspends proposed WAEC NECO fees hike. Senate investigate 34 trillion naira import waivers by federal government. Then we also have this on GOC gives blow-by-blow account of rescue operation, maybe for the sake of Nigerians who are asking questions. Orire principal recounts ordeal. All right, you can pick a copy of the Nigerian Tribune to know what the ordeal is. Oyo APC stakeholders await Tinubu's intervention over party crisis. Well, a lot of crises everywhere going into the 2027 election. Now the big story. Makinde calls on UN orders to probe Orire abduction. UN, that's United Nations, meaning Nigeria can't handle it. All right, well, there are reasons for every of these headlines. So you can pick a copy and go through it and just to write to that story. And the first writer says, assures rescue teachers, school children of support throughout recovery period. I thought we were going to say scholarship for those children until their PhD level. Thanks, Tinubu. Commends security agency, Amotekun local hunters. And those are the headlines for you on the Nigerian Tribune today. Let's move to Daily Sun newspaper for more headlines.
Okay, thank you, Ramsey. The Daily Sun newspaper has its first story besides the nameplate. Reads 56 days with kidnappers. Or your principal recount ordeal. They killed 2 of our colleagues. We trekked 4 hours to freedom. NUT demands security beef up around schools. Implementation of Safe School Initiative. Appeal Court ruling. ADC kicks head to Supreme Court. Rejects judgment affirming High Court ruling barring INEC from recognizing state congresses. Faction upholds Uba Barkindo as president, vice president candidate. Party chieftains cry wolf as Atiku accuses Electoral Commission of aiding anti-opposition agenda. State police, Tinubu prioritizing Nigeria's safety, not re-election. That's coming from Kalu. Obi bemoans renewed killings in Benue Plateau. Details on page 26. Illegal mining, money laundering, fueling insecurity. That's coming from our reps. And finally, PFIPC. My life is in danger. Cries at DME. Vows to open can of worms. Not funny though. but details on page 7. Those are the headlines for the Daily Sun. The next point of call is the Liberty, Voice of Liberty paper there.
Okay, Voice of Liberty. All right, let's look at the Voice of Liberty and see how liberated the headlines would be for you this morning. This one says, federal government suspend proposed WAEC NECO fee hike. As a Rock memo sparks fresh controversy over alleged 54 billion naira NUPRC fund diversion. This other story says U.S. lobbying firm offers asylum support to PFIPC's Adeyemi. All right, we heard the father also was being arrested. Probably he's been granted asylum somewhere, but then the investigation is still on. All right, more headlines coming to you from the Liberty. This one says, first year remembrance. Buhari governed Nigeria without regional bias, treated all equally. This is coming from a former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, retired. Family, associates, dignitaries mark Buhari's one-year remembrance. Court rejects Sowere's bid to delay cyberbullying trial. And this one says, Tinubu orders NIMC, that's NIMC, to enroll all Nigerians, sets 2026 as deadline. Appeal Court bars INEC from recognizing Mark-led ADC Congress. And one rider to that story, party insists primaries remain valid. All right, those are the headlines for you today from the Liberty newspaper as we move to the next point of call. But then, because of our time, we'll just take a few headlines from the Vanguard, then we'll bring you Social Buzz.
Well, on Vanguard, we have the first story, reads, Economy exits contraction, but households remain pessimistic. That is coming from the CBN.
Oh, all right.
The next point of call is Atiku, the next paper. Atiku will be excited as federal government suspend plan increase in WAEC NECO registration fees, and that is on page 9. Strait of Hormuz, U.S. to reinstate Iran's ports blockade, impose 20% passage fee. Details on page 8. Discourse push back against next fresh order of revenue utilization. Details on page 8. The Star story reads, children were beaten, teachers chained. Alamu, that's the principal of the abducted Orire school. Some riders says we were forced to trek through the forest at night. They ate cocoyam noodles, drank from a waterfall for 56 days. Victims' relative. Initial operation that led to security death sources. Victims hidden inside a cave close to waterfall. Marking day 6 UN probe into abduction. Details, all of these details is right there on page 11 for you to go through. Next story. Appeal Court affirms order barring INEC from recognizing MARC leadership. Judgment won't affect ADC candidates. Party insists. Atiku heads to Supreme Court, insists ADC's ticket intact despite court ruling on Congresses. Details on page 5. Next story. How police uncovered fictitious PFIPC document. Details on page 28. I borrowed 400 million naira to secure PFIPC appointment, and that's coming from Adeyemi. Buhari's first anniversary. Tinubu Gowon, governors, ministries pay tribute. Details on page 27. When flood waters recede, health crisis begins. Physicians warns. Details on page 21. Those are your headlines for the Vanguard newspaper. Next point of call is the Punch newspaper.
All right, let's quickly look at the Punch newspaper for you this beautiful morning. Here, the first story by the left-hand side above the nameplate says that Tiku, ADC defend primaries as court voids Mark-led congresses. IG granted 34 billion naira import duty waivers in 2025. That's coming from customs. Veterans meet CDS, demand 250,000 naira minimum pay for soldiers. Dangote dumps naira, begins petrol sales in dollars. Is that not a breach of contract?
Wow.
Well, no wonder someone said in the coming days there might still be a surge in the price of petroleum products. It is now we know if truly the Dangote refinery, all right, has impacted Nigerians. But then, agreement is agreement. The refinery is still in Nigeria, all right. So I don't know what has informed this decision. Probably it could be selling to Nigerians in naira and be selling to foreigners in dollars, because even the federal government, there is a proposal from the National Assembly that dollars should not be, any transaction in Nigeria should be in naira and not dollars.
So I think it's, well, an expert has to just come examine this, but in my opinion, selling our products in dollar is demarketing our naira.
I feel like it's an insult even. All right. Now, the big story, which is the star story on the Punch newspaper this morning. Oyo abduction. Presidency slams Makinde over demand for UN probe. We have a few headlines to that story. And the first headline says Makinde play BZ politics, weaponizing anything against federal government that is coming from the presidency. This one says this isn't politics or your abduction too grave for local probe alone, says Makinde. No wonder he's inviting the United Nations to probe, of course, the abduction. Right? I told us earlier that if you want to know why he is actually demanding for UN probe, we can go through the Punch newspaper. But at least the writers are giving us at least an insight into the reason why. A bandit killed 2 teachers in captivity. Principal reveals. Federal government hands over victim to government. Oil tops $80 as Trump revives Iran blockade. Then this one says that downpour cripples Lagos, floods submerges cars, strands motorists. Well, it's common in Lagos State, especially some places at the island, even the mainland sometimes, but it's common at the island because Lagos, of course, is a riverine state. Fake agency scandal. ICPC begins probe as DG alleges threat to life. Well, no wonder the lobbying team from US is saying we will grant you asylum, just come over. All right, those are the headlines for you today on the Punch newspaper. From the Punch we move to the Guardian for more headlines.
All right, thank you, Ramsey. Let's take the Guardian newspaper now. First story below the nameplate, the left corner. Senate tightens grip on MDAs as 34 trillion naira duty waiver probe exposes revenue gaps. Details on page 3. Oil climbs to $80 as Trump reinstates Iran port blockade, imposes 20% charge on cargo. Details on page 2. Cancer claims over 26,000 lives daily, says WHO report. Details on page 3. The star story, opposition candidates in turmoil as INEC nomination window closes. PFIPC scandal, Adeyemi alleges threat to life, begs Tinubu for independent probe. Ex-Minister Uche Nnaji arraigned, plead not guilty, gets 20 million naira bail. Discuss protests, NERC's new CapEx revenue directive. Details on page 5. Atiku Obi hails suspension of 50,000 naira WAEC NECO fee hike. Orire Makinde 6 UN probe into abduction of pupils, teachers. Dirty streets, how poor infrastructure policy inconsistency worsens Lagos waste crisis. Niger Delta stakeholders urge release of Bayelsa communities 80 billion naira compensation. Those are your headlines for the Guardian newspaper.
Well, I don't know, but then the issue of the independent investigator or maybe investigation into the scandal, the fake agency scandal, I think it is necessary. You know, let's have independent, because ICPC, whether you like it or not, is an agency. All right, under the federal government.
It's an agency. Okay.
It's anti-graft agency.
Okay.
ICPC.
Okay, ICPC.
Yes.
I thought you were saying PFIPC. You know the
No. That's an agency of its own. And from what DME is claiming, is an agency, all right, for foreign investment and all of that.
That he went through the process.
But that everything. Then who set up? First of all, who set up the agency? How was it able to get into the budget and all of that? So this
I also saw a comment on Very Dark Man. I think he made a video and he cleared, he cleared Femi Gbajabiamila of the accusation, although he's not.
Okay, he said he's not accused.
He's not a judge. I don't know how we should hold on. Do we hold on to what Very Dark Man's verdict is? But he said he had made an investigation and he sees that Femi Gbajabiamila is not. He's not guilty of the alleged bribery. But then an investigation. I mean, a private investigation.
He has made a private investigation.
Yes,
that's Very Dark Man.
Yes, according to him. So it is interesting times ahead. And for the man in question, Adeyemi, I just can imagine what he's going through. To be going through a case with the federal government.
The federal government. Now, there is a claim that his life is at risk.
Yes.
And some of the things that the federal government is even charging is that, first of all, that Gbajabiamila was accused. Exactly. Then he was also accused of a murder. Yeah. All right, part of it, because they said a major investigator, died in a hotel, somewhere fire, somewhere in Asokoro, so many things. So we just need a very transparent investigation into the whole case.
So can we guarantee a transparent investigation?
If you want to have a transparent investigator, we can bring people, all right, like maybe retired judges, and of course, probably one or two persons who are not even in Nigeria at all, who are experts. We have people who do investigation for a living.
It's not about doing investigation for a living. It's the corruption that has...
No. It's not everyone. It's not. If you want to find people who are not corrupt to investigate this, you can do it. We know the level of corruption in Nigeria, and that's the reason I said some Nigerians and some external See, we have, just like we have auditors, external auditors. We can also have external investigators. They might not even be Nigerians.
Yeah, we need a neutral...
Yes, they might not even be Nigerians. And they will carry out their investigation. It doesn't matter how long. But if they will tell you what they need. And if those things are provided, it won't take them... This is a digital age. It won't take them... See, there are conversations, all right, that if you go to telecoms, they can track conversations. All right.
It's not like we don't know this thing. This is the same country that bandits communicate on TikTok and we don't know where they are. It's insane. But this is ideal.
It's a challenge.
We're saying the idea how it should be. It should be far-fetched. A country that TikTokers called bandits are gallivanting on social media.
Doing giveaway.
Yet we don't know who they are.
We don't know who they are. I think.
And you want them to investigate such authority in Nigeria?
There are some things. Well, let's just leave everything to the hands of God and see.
Really?
What I'm even concerned about is Nigerians. All right, it's Nigerians. What we're saying now, the reason why this thing is going this far and very big, National Assembly, the House of Rep, everybody is coming into it is because a big name is involved. All right. If it is just that a big name is not involved, before you know, the case will be in court and for almost forever. And before you know it, I don't know, maybe trashed out. But this one, a big name is involved. So the federal government have to save its name and, of course, forestall integrity. Because that is
the bone of contention there.
Yeah, it is.
The process of saving his name. I hope we don't do it the wrong way to save our name, because there's every reason, or there's every...
That's why they are taking it this serious.
Well, I just pray for you that may wrong things not come to you.
God forbid.
May you not get yourself into trouble that is bigger than you. Because this is overwhelming.
No, there is something about Nigeria that a lot of people don't know. There is something about Nigeria. Sometimes you see some people avoiding certain things, not because they are coward, but because they know the operations of the system. And you don't see, had I know is always a second born. So if you are not careful, if wisdom don't direct you, maybe if you're not careful, your destiny is cut short. You find yourself in prison. I've heard people say, well, somebody has did something, like somebody came to give a testimony a few days somewhere, and the person was saying he was even in prison until the people who did what he was accused of, God touched their conscience and they said, of a truth, we have to be sincere. This young man is innocent. He doesn't know anything about the situation. And of course, he was now acquitted. So there are a lot of people in Nigeria, because of maybe careless victims of circumstances and all that. So on the whole, we just have to be careful. Not that you're being coward, but you are being wise to an extent. Because you know what it means to have a case with the federal government? I know people who have won cases, all right, against the federal government before, but it's rare. And it depends on the administration.
You did not stain your hands in any way. So the chance Adeyemi gets in this whole case is that he is indeed innocent. Because you cannot come to equity with dirty hands. It implicates you, especially if you're dealing with a more dirty person. You can't come to equity. You can't come for justice, and you have a cockroach in your cupboard. So I just do hope that his hands are clean, that he went through the processes, whatever it is that he didn't get right, maybe because of
documents are available,
ignorance and all. I hope he did not have to boycott. I hope he did not have to play or dance to the tune of one wrong person at one point to make processes easier. I really do.
The problem is the person giving bribe and the person taking bribe are all guilty.
So they go down together.
So if processes were skipped in any way, it's a problem. It doesn't matter who is facilitating the project, the process. You understand? So these are some of the things. So we just need external investigation, because if processes are being skipped, you know how it happens in Nigeria. A big man comes to the bank and he jumps the queue. You understand? And nothing happens.
Yeah.
No matter how the people on queue grumble, he has sorted himself out. So if processes, all right, are being followed, everything done duly as it is supposed to do for every other existing agency, then it's clear So, not until otherwise proven, everyone is innocent in this case. For now.
For now.
Yes, for now.
Well,
so, let's just keep our fingers crossed.
It's the case of let the best man, let the most, in Nigeria, it's sad, but it's the case of let the most corrupt win, let the most connected win, let the most powerful win. It's always the case in Nigeria.
All right.
I hope that there'll be an exception to this case, though.
All right. We'll now go for taste. Social buzz with Ogochukwu Nwobono, and we also want you to know that the headlines, Global Television does not have an editorial contribution to the various headlines that we are taking. It is solely the property and idea headlines of the various newspaper houses. We're taking a break. After this break, Ogochukwu will come up with social buzz.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And the issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. It's time to look at personal issues making the rounds on social media. Today we're looking at a trending issue currently on social media, which is husband confronts lecturers over alleged harassment of married students. The accused lecturer is the HOD of History and International Studies at Northwestern University, formerly Yusuf Maitama University, and a visiting lecturer at Miriam Abacha American University. He allegedly kept refusing to approve a married female student's project for 2 years because she wouldn't give in to his advances. The woman complained to her husband and they set a trap for him. According to reports from those who have seen the lecturer's chat with his married students, he fixed an appointment to see her right after Maghrib prayers. However, when he showed up at the agreed time to meet with the woman, her husband and others were waiting for him and they gave him the beating of his life, handing him over to the police. Let's take a look at that video. Now the question here is, do I support violence? I would say no. But do I support this? 100% I'm in. Why? Because most times we've seen these lecturers actually abuse students and they get away with it. Most times they threaten with your score that you know you read overnight concerning this particular issue or the topic. But then again, you have to, they want you to do whatever it is they want you to do. And if you don't do that, if you're not subjected to their plea, then they are going to make sure that they fail you. I have been a victim of this, and that's the reason why I really support this. Some lecturers just feel like they are God, like they are demigods over you. But if you have to go out with a young girl who is not married, that's a different case, especially when, you know, there's a consent there, she agreed to it. It's fine. But a married woman is the total abuse of power. It's wrong, it's bad. She had told you several times that she was married. You kept on chatting her, you kept on calling her and texting her at all hours. I really support this beating, and if there's anything more, please, I would love the government to to take care of this. And this should serve as a warning to all of those lecturers who think that they can do this with women, married women especially, and get away with it. If you are doing that with a young girl, it's wrong that you abuse a young lady, because most times they even threaten you with scores. That's what I'm saying. But if I've seen lecturers actually marry their students, which is okay. You understand? But so if you are asking a young lady out and you are being responsible about it and she agrees to it, it's fine. But please do not threaten students with their scores, especially when you know that they are working so hard for this scores. Do not threaten any student. And when the woman is married, please stay away. What happened to decency? Why are we not decent anymore? How can you go after a married woman? The woman did not give you a green flag. She did not make herself readily available for you, but you are chasing her and you're telling her that don't worry, I'll give you a time to meet you. You want to do with her. That's so wrong. I really appreciate the husband of this young lady for understanding and doing this with his friends, honestly, because it takes a man who understands. Some people just feel like, oh, you're already doing this, you're lecturer, oh, you're already this, you're a bad wife and all of that. But thank you to this one who understood the assignment and carried it out. Yes, the case right now is in the police station, and of course you trust the police to do their duty very well. And that's it for today. We wish we had comments to take, but we do not have any, because a lot of comments were really a bit of abusive, which also violates the guideline for television. So please drop your comments on the social media platform that will be made available. It's there on your screen. It's Global TV NG on YouTube. Be part of the discussion. Make sure you subscribe to Global TV, by the way. It's Global TV NG on YouTube and every other platform, so you don't miss out on anything we have here. And congratulations to Global Television. We are on free TV. So all you need to do is to download the app on iOS or using your Android device. Make sure you download the app and you're going to see Global Television, so you don't miss out on everything we have here, including up-to-date news. And yes, this is where we close the curtains for Social Buzz on Global Morning. I'll be leaving in the hands of the Global Morning crew as they usher us into the discussion section of Global Morning. So stay with us. I am Ogochukwu Mobno. And once again, good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction, Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
Wow. Well, I don't know where to start from right now, but then this is one amongst many. We've heard about lecturers harassing students, married women, provided you're a student and all of that. Married women are not also left out, and even single women, as a matter of fact. And lecturers have their reasons, why they do all of these things. Some could be lost.
all right, and some could be wickedness as it is, and sometimes you can escape, all right, an action, but then the consequences and of course the nemesis you may not be able to escape because it's going to come unannounced. Now let's look at this situation. All right, this lecturer was, let me use the word brutalized, because that video that I saw, the way, imagine that lecturer shouting and crying like a baby, you know, because he was being beaten by I don't know how many men with sticks and all of that, because that is a husband harassing and brutalizing a lecturer who he allegedly said, all right, is he harassed the wife or asked the wife out or something. But then we need to say one or two things. Number one, what are the evidences? The information we got behind closed doors is that there was a chat, all right, where the lady, originally the lady claimed that her project was held for about a year. Then the chat revealed that it was for a period of time less than a year.
The chat revealed that they had started chatting. It didn't reveal, according to what we have heard, right? It has not revealed when the period was.
No, they said they started, I think, August also.
When they started to chat.
They started chatting.
Yes.
But not chatting about the project. All right, chatting about the project. So as it is now, I don't know the kind of investigation.
We need to know when she started writing her project. And all of this would, of course, it's not something that is hidden from the school.
Is it possible for somebody's project to be held up for up to a year?
Very possible.
For what reason?
I've seen it happen.
For what reason?
Sometimes lecturers can genuinely hold it for maybe corrections. You've not been able to meet up with the criteria. Go and correct. You keep correcting. You keep printing. You keep correcting and all of that. Sometimes genuinely, if a lecturer is a perfectionist, because there are such lecturers,
you have them.
They want you.
I know one during my days.
They want to do exactly what they want.
Because
it's a correction that every other student will pass through that process. Every other lecturer might oversee or overlook some of these corrections. But there's always this particular lecturer that is precise and detailed and perfection driven.
I want everything
written in that
perfectly
way. And sometimes they do it without considering the costs that you incur. You want to be perfect, yes, but you're not even correcting the way you should correct. Because today you say this, you give this correction. Tomorrow you are also studying. There are lecturers that study alongside their students. I mean, they are understanding the project just as you understand. It's just that they have done projects over time, so they understand how a chapter 1 should go. But the subject matter, the project topic is to them is not totally
something they are familiar with.
Yes, different topic on that project. So as you're submitting your correction to them, they're also seeing a fresh light. They are seeing a fresh light, and they're using their fresh light and fresh insights every time to correct you. So there is that case. So there should be a thin line, right? There should be a line.
But the problem here is not even the project.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There are some. I've also explained different kinds of projects.
You have the issue of sexual harassment, or maybe asking the woman out or something. That was what actually brought out the whole issue.
Sometimes there are lecturers that know that, okay, this person cannot deliver, so let me have my way, so that you can also go free, because they are also perverse. They don't think straight, obviously. So they know that this person is not capable.
Who don't think straight?
The lecturers themselves.
Some lecturers.
So those set of lecturers know that this student cannot deliver. So why not get what I want and give you what you want? Because I know that if I leave you with this project, we'll keep going round and round. And the funny thing is that some of these students don't do this project themselves. They outsource it. So when a lecturer keeps... Because if a student knows I don't know this, sometimes their best bet is to go and give someone that knows it. It happens.
But that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, the longer the project in the hand of the person helping you to write it, the more money the person gets. So if you're not wise and smart, the person might be deliberately, all right, trying to extort you without because some of these women, not all, are dumb. All right, some, not all. As a matter of fact,
it's not just women, please. No, there are men that do these things too.
No, we're talking this case. I'm just referring to the case on ground.
You're talking about the other gender.
Yes, I'm talking about the other gender. I'm not talking about the men. That's why we first of all say some lecturers. You use that word, and I said some to correct you. So, first of all. Would you justify the action of that man beating the lecturer instead of taking legal action?
No. Nobody should do such.
Already the lecturer is in court. The lecturer has taken the case to court.
Nobody should humiliate, brutalize another fellow human being. There is a process to seeking justice. Jungle justice is not a path for a civilized human being.
I see the level of anger in that man.
Yeah, I understand how. But I also know that men can be very logical.
Could that be coming from the place of love, that he loved the wife so much?
I don't know. I really do see. Well, when it comes to a man's wife partner, most times they think irrationally, right? I don't know if it's all men, but most times a man wants to react irrationally because if there's anything a man fears is having another person sleep with his wife. They hate it. They can forgive every other sin. In short, they can forgive it when they know and nobody knows. But when it is open, when it's a situation of maybe my friends already know,
like this one now, this action has already announced it to the whole world. It's on the internet.
Yes, and that was so irrational.
A stigma forever.
That was so irrational. That depends on if the woman had given in. Because if she had not given in, I mean, the man would feel like the James Bond trying to rescue his wife from.
No, even the worst case scenario is even if she has given in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If she had not given in, then he doesn't have anything to. Well, the image he has humiliated himself, obviously.
Right?
But it's only justified if this is true, if the allegation is true. If it was based on false allegation, he has embarrassed himself.
Whether it is true or not, the embarrassment is there because the internet
men will hail him for doing this. It's wrong. I'm not speaking about that it's wrong, but it's what our culture has enabled. Our culture somehow enables men to fight for their wives. The cultural context of this now. If you go to some traditions now, I'm not saying in the eyes of the law, it's wrong. That is established. But let us
society frown at it.
Yes.
Especially when it's from the woman's aspect.
Yes. But we have seen cases where legally it's wrong to take a second wife and the man goes and says his culture permits him to do this. We've not been able to balance culture and law in our country. Because culture prevails to a very large extent in some parts of Nigeria.
Yes, some persons believe in culture more than the law.
Exactly.
Yes.
You can win a case in the city, carry it and go to the village, and hear how.
No. In fact, when one person talk, only one person.
Exactly.
You like, what is this that I've done?
Exactly. So subconsciously, it's subconscious.
The issue now is. Whatever it is, there shouldn't be jungle justice. That is one, and it is not good to go after people's wives, and it's not also good to go after young ladies, all right, who are not consenting to your request.
And I think some of these ladies too are the ones that flaunt themselves because of the mental illness.
Oh my God! Can I clap for you?
They flaunt
Please, name a prize. Name a prize. No, if you're not in any prize, it has to be in front of your husband, as a matter of fact.
They flaunt themselves. I one time went to school because I'm doing my master's.
Yes, I love it because you are a married woman in school too. Have you had an harassment from lecturers before as a married woman in school? You're not married again, so maybe you might have had one.
Of course, I have gotten a lot of advances from lecturers, even in my married state.
But you were not harassed.
Not harassed. The lady was not harassed, was she? She just reported what somebody was trying to say to her.
And the man noticed.
It was not a case of rape, right?
No, it wasn't.
So
she
probably have gotten advances maybe via calls, and she decides to extend it to her husband. But it is almost like a normal thing right now, which in our conventional universities, now Nigerian universities, to get advances, people can approach you. The crime they commit is when they forcefully want to
All right.
get themselves.
Hold it there.
And
I think that's it.
But people harass, approach you. It's left for you to say no.
Okay.
It's left for you to say focus, because the moment you start to give in because of some sort of mental laziness, maybe you can't read and then you are trying to dance to their tune because you feel like they can also give you
and your dressing too,
exactly.
Your outfit. You go to see a lecturer in his office and your privileges are being there are some men that don't have control, and I don't want to use the word that some men are, but then that's it. All we have to do is ensure that the society is clean because of the people who are coming up. And we should also be careful what we put out there on the social media, because it's going to go a long way. You can't delete it. It's there. That's one thing a lot of people don't know with the internet. Whatever you put on the internet is there. And that's the reason some of the social media reminds you, and they said 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they show you something. So don't take laws into your hands. Don't harass people's wives and people's children. Dress decently, and of course do the right thing at the right time, and also try as much as possible to comport yourself every time, every day, everywhere. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we return, Global Morning continues.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Many thanks for staying with us on Global Morning today. Well, the conversation is getting intensive away from the lecturer's harassment. As a matter of fact, I think DSS have already, according to information, that's not confirmed yet, but there is a story flying around that DSS have arrested the woman and her husband, and that the lecturer has gone to court. Maybe all of this will be proven much later by evidences. But now, have you thought about the security situation? Our next conversation will be centered on national security.
When it comes to security, everyone have a role to play as individual, as a federal government, as an agency, even as foreigners, because first, the country needs to be safe before you can stay in there as a foreigner. Beyond just having CCTV, having spy police, having private guards and all of that, there is more to do, because whatever happens to your neighbor today might not, all right, totally look away from you tomorrow. And that's the reason everyone have to put their hands on deck to ensure that security become a thing of the past. For Benue State, can we move to Benue State a little bit before our guest joins us? Let's move to Benue State. What happened in Benue State? A lot of people have been reacting to it. Activists have been reacting to it on social media. And someone said something. He said, except security situations are being taken off social media and addressed in real time, all right, else these people will still be gallivanting. You said something a few minutes ago that even terrorists go on TikTok, all right, to do their paparazzi. Some even do giveaways and all of that. That's to tell you of how these people are looking at this thing as if it's a joke. You know, these guys sometimes they do these things and they look at it as if it's fun. Some are not just doing it because of the money, because we don't even know who these ransoms go to. All right. But then for Benue State, I heard the Governor Hyacinth earlier came up with a certain amount of money, some millions. All right. I think maybe to the family of the bereaved, and they rejected it. All right. We heard they rejected the money because what the people want is not money. Lives have been lost. I don't want to call figures now. All right. I don't want to call figures, but the figures we are hearing on social media and even in the media is not compared to what may have happened in the actual sense of it. That's a community. You know what it means for someone to be sleeping? That person is harmless. You can even use a jackknife, all right, to unalive people who are sleeping, because there is no defense, nothing. 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. And this is an area that is prone to security. There have been cries, you know, nothing has been done. Even when it comes to the issue of local vigilante, I could remember there was a time I spoke to someone from that axis, and he was telling me how vigilante has been politicized. This governor, or maybe this person will say, this vigilante, I was not the one that set it up. All right. Then at a point there were factions. These vigilantes are for this person, this vigilante. Instead of just collaborating, forming a vigilante like we have Amotekun in the east, we have just come together, you know, and form a vigilante for just one cause, because it is one problem and the same people. Why different this thing? We can say let's have a different approach or strategy, all right, to confront this situation. But I don't know why there is this level of laxity, just like a joke. The issue of insecurity crept into the middle belt, the north central, and this is where we are today. And it has escalated. Even though that of Oyo, nobody is sure, some persons are politicizing. And Makinde have said, well, this is beyond just Nigeria, that UN should help in the poor. So this thing is becoming an issue. It's becoming a problem. So many people, you are aware that so many people cannot travel the road right now. Before now, it was terrorism. It extended to banditry. It extended to kidnapping, which has become somehow, like you said during our newspaper analysis, that some persons are looking at it as some form of business. No matter how deteriorating the economy is, I don't think kidnapping, terrorism, and of course, abducting school children is a way to go. So I don't know, for Benue State, I think more attention. They are expecting the governor to do more instead of just giving the people money when their loved ones
are being unalived, a lot of them injured. Some are even in the hospital receiving treatment right now. And some persons have said, well, it's a reprisal attack because of the death of the Miyetti Allah leader that was unalived when he was returning from a security meeting. So many narratives coming from this whole situation, but then investigations are still on. People that were arrested, some of them have been released, some chiefs and all of that, and the arrest is still ongoing, investigation is ongoing. So we'll have an expert join us on the program this morning. Priscilla, how are you feeling about the whole situation?
Well, how do I want to feel? It's almost like irregular news now when you hear insecurity in Nigeria. And first off, I don't know why those people will reject that money. It's a good place to start. Yes, you don't have to be 100% satisfied with, the relief. But if you don't have that money, it makes the situation worse. So first off, I would not advise anyone to reject any kind of relief that the government wants to give. I don't know if it's...
So why being reactive instead of proactive?
Yeah, I mean, that's where we find ourselves. I had my own share of insecurity sometime in 2020, 2022, thereabouts. Some robbers busted into my house in the middle of the night. Your house? Yes. Middle of the night, I was sleeping, and the next day they were trying to break the door. And I was like... I just, the first of all came through the window, tried to make all the noise. It became a reality tonight. We started hearing a bang on the door, trying to break the door, and of course, I flew up.
And sometimes they don't want to talk, so you don't recognize their voice.
No, they're not talking. They were speaking Hausa. And so I jumped up, my husband had given me cues, tried to follow another door. And I picked my son then. I had just one. My son was 2 years old.
Just 2?
He was 2 years old. I picked him up and picked my phone, and I went through another door. Funny enough, I was going through that door. I saw them. They were telling me, go back. Did we touch you? Go back. I don't know how I just summoned courage to escape. And then I went, because my house is a 2-story building, and I went up to the very last floor. And I knocked on my neighbor's door. My wonderful neighbor did not open the door for me.
Oh my gosh. Well, they know that. They don't think it's those guys that...
No! The funny thing is that... I was the one... When you talked about when it affects your neighbor, they had gone to one of my neighbor's house first. Then we had some very wonderful Yahoo boys staying in our estate. So they robbed them silently. Those guys did not react. Those guys did not... they were so compliant that we didn't even know. If it was when they got to our house, we now raised alarm, and then the entire estate knew that something was happening.
All right. I think we need to go to our guests now because this situation is becoming worrisome, and of course before now it used to be on the highway, but now these unscrupulous elements go to people's houses, and it's either you are robbed or you are kidnapped from your own room, from your own house, and they ask for ransom. It was in this FCT that they got into a house, unalive a man, and took away the children from it and left just the pregnant woman. And of course, we've heard just recently how they got somewhere in Kado and unalive a man. We don't know if that was an assassin or maybe this unscrupulous element. We have a security expert join us on the program today as we look at this situation. We're looking at national security, how it has been, and of course, what is the contribution, the effort, the strategy coming from the federal government, not just the federal government alone, the citizens and every other person that feel security is all of us that is supposed to partake in it. So we're looking at national security, evaluating the role of government, security agencies, and citizens in tackling this problem of insecurity. And joining us is a security expert in the person of Salihu Dantata. It's good to have you join us this beautiful morning, Salihu.
Thank you very much, Agbo, and your co-panelists. You're doing wonderfully well on national security threats.
Thank you very much. We are just talking about the security situation, how it's escalating. What do you think are the reasons why this thing is escalating the way it is?
Well, you know, in a country where you have porous borders, in a country where you have high level of illiteracy, in a country where you have high level of poverty, in a country where governance is only satisfactory to few who are in charge, in a country where there is bigotry, in a country where there is tribalism, this is what you sometimes find. Because till date, it is still very, very surprising to a lot of us how these things escalated to this extent. We can vividly recall during the military, you dare not do things related to this. But from the advance of democracy, later years, the stability and the freedom accompanied with it made certain people to think that yes, we can also do this. When we recall in 2009, when Boko Haram started in Borno State, it had religious coloration where you had people with some ideologies that were even alien with Islamic faith. And again, the illegal gold mines in some northwestern states of, Zamfara and others also about banditry. Then again, the long negligence of tackling certain issues also made it to escalate. When you look at the entire security agencies in the country, from armed forces, police, and others, are they properly funded? Is intelligence being gathered the way it ought to be? Are the proper crop of people recruited both at non-commission and commission level? And also of other things. So there are many factors if I'm to continuously talk. But I think these are some of the few things I can tell you regarding this.
Oh, all right. Let's take you to the most recent, and that's the release of the abducted school children in Orire local government in Oyo State. What would you have to say? Because they were there for 50-something days, and of course, Nigerians have reacted in several ways. So even the governor today was saying, well, the United Nations needs to do a probe that this is beyond Nigeria. Some Nigerians are saying this is politically orchestrated. And a lot of people are coming up with different perspectives to the whole situation. What is your own perspective as a security expert?
In the first place, we have to commend the federal government, the combatant GOC of 2nd Division, alongside other security agencies like the police, DSS, NIA, forest guards, hunters, civil defense, and host of others. You see, sometimes if we cannot solve our problems by ourselves, there is no point calling on any United Nations and what have you. If United Nations can solve security problems in countries, how come Somalia is still volatile? How come South Sudan is still having crisis? How come Sudan is still having crisis and host of others? So the issues are our problems. Our internal problems can be solved by us alone. And when somebody does good, we must say it. The issues are, even though we know there are still remnants in Woro, Kwara State, the Askira Uba, that is Lhasa school children kidnapped in Borno State. I know federal government is also going to extend same gesture. Don't forget, in Woro, Ondakama local government area of Kwara State, 176 are also in captivity. The Askira Uba were in Lhasa Secondary School. There are more than 70-something, school children and host of others. So the issues are, you see, we cannot do more than ourselves. Like the governor of Oyo State, Sheyi Makinde, is now reporting to UN. Are we saying we are not an independent nation? You see, we don't need to play politics with security. He, as chief security officer, what efforts has he been making? without the involvement of federal troops like the armed forces, police, DSS, and others, would these Orire abducted school teachers and children have been rescued? Look at how they were rescued outside the beheading of that teacher that started in the first day and another person in the second day. They were, you know, reunited without being armed. So this is not time to, you know, blame anyone. This is time to unite. This is time for sober reflection. And what we've been called combined security agencies led by a general officer commanding, that is a major general, 2-star general. If the governor of Oyo State was asked to lead those troops to rescue those Orire school children and teachers, would he have been able to do it? That now, instead of him to do the needful by bringing certain, you know, palliatives, certain compensation to give to some of these families of these children, and as well the teachers, all he's trying to do is politics. We don't need, I'm not a politician, I don't belong to any of the parties, but once the truth comes, we say it. So above all, what we want now, the federal government has done well, the troops have done well. We also need this same gesture extended to abducted 176 women and children in Woro, under Kayama local government area of Kwara State, as well as Askira Uba in Borno State.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, thank you once again for joining us. I'm quite curious on, you know, the response that different abductors get. Is it now a strategy of how many abductors can come on social media to get the attention of the government? Because like you mentioned, there are still some students that are still in abduction up till now. So are we saying well, not so fast, with this very set of Orire students and teachers spent 56 days, if I'm not mistaken, in the abductor's hand. But then we see a response. We even saw the federal government put up a video, you know, to how the rescue mission was, you know, made. Are we saying that that response came basically because these people had a strategy of coming online to put the, you know, student or the teacher or the principal online? Is now the strategy, and then any abductor that cannot use that strategy to get the attention of the government, it will now mean that those abductees will stay more in custody or probably even be forgotten. Is it the response based on the strategy of the abductors, or how the abductors can come out to cry and threaten the government? And is that how the government now responds? Should we normalize that as, you know, the best approach?
Oh. Can you hear us? Salut, can you hear us? Well, all right, we'll get him in as soon as the network is established. In reacting to that question, you know, sometimes it is being perceived by Nigerians that the abductors, all right, what they do now is the strategy, because the people who, the abductees, may not even have their phones with them, because number one, their locations may be on and they can be traced, so they may not even have their phones. But these people, remember, they have a target, all right? And most times, like the Orire children that were released, nobody told us whether a ransom was paid. At least, was it KB or so? One of the governor came out to say, well, I won't pay nothing. You know, I won't pay nothing, and though these children were released, also I've forgotten the state, Zijigawa or KB, I can't remember now. Now, what they do is, they do the video themselves.
You have doctors, right?
Yes, they do the videos, and sometimes tell the people what to say. Yes, doctor the abductees on what to say, and you see them begging, please, please. Sometimes they even beat them, so that Nigerians can see.
Of the students,
yeah, so that people can sympathize. Like the student of Unijust and all of that. So that child that was tied to a stone, you know, there is a feeling. If you have blood running in your veins, there's a way you feel when your fellow human being is being maltreated.
So are you saying that the government will not respond to those that don't put up such videos? Because we still have abductions in Borno and other.
This is why government even reacts. Okay.
might have their strategy. It is this strategy. They won't tell you. Anybody, any Nigerian citizen that is being abducted, kidnapped, it is the responsibility of the these unscrupulous elements, and that's what the federal government and the security agencies are doing. All right, even with or without abducting people, we've heard of attacks. Operatives are going after these terrorists. Before now, it was terrorism. It has given birth to kidnapping. It has given birth to abducting a large number of people. But where my question and surprise is why the attention on the church and of course worship centers, not just church, mosque inclusive, and then schools, because probably they want to get more ransom. The more the abducted number, the number of people abducted, the more of course the ransom that will be paid, probably because they feel, then they themselves, they feel different parents. If your parents is not wealthy, somebody else's parents might be wealthy, and they put resources together to ensure these children are being freed. Somebody said something when some people were coming out with the narrative of no, there is no need to pay ransom. Somebody said something. He said if it is not your child or your loved ones that are being kidnapped, you can say whatever you want to say. But then if it is your loved one, you'll be apprehensive. You want to go all out to ensure these people are being released. We've had cases where ransom is being paid, yet they unalive these persons for certain reasons. Like we were saying yesterday behind closed door, like the teacher that was beheaded in Orire. Nobody knows. That happened almost immediately they were abducted. So you start thinking outside the box. Could it be that he was not cooperating? Could it be that maybe the person probably gets to know one of the people, all right, perpetrating this act, just like robbers do on the highway. As soon as they want to rob and they get anyone, they see anyone that have recognized them, especially when they are not masked, they take the person out. Could it be the same thing that has happened? So it is all about strategy. All right, what the abductors are using that as a strategy, maybe to make people feel more for the people who are abducted, so that the process can be hastened. Whatever, I don't know, I'm just saying that could be their motive. But then, like we're treating this topic today, it's necessary to do that. Yes, that maybe that could be a network problem. My colleague asked a question, and she was asking.
I'm not sure if you got the question. The question before you.
Did you get the question? Did you get the question that my colleague asked?
The network still seems to be lagging. I don't know if you can hear me. So if you can hear us, can you confirm? Can you confirm that you can hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, it can't hear us, obviously. That's a network problem. I think Nigeria is more advanced now, that we should have good network everywhere. There was a time they said fiber, let's lay fiber, all right, and Nigerians were like, oh, well, maybe 5G or something, and some people will say, 5G is going to cause this, but then the bottom line is that we need internet to do a lot of things.
So fiber is something that you still have to pay.
You have to pay.
Connect to this. I heard there's a.
You have to pay, and who is to pay for it? The internet service provider, because you're paying for the airtime, you're paying for data. So they should pay for this and have it everywhere, because the more available, the more money they make. This is a business wisdom.
Yes.
I'm giving it to them free of charge. So we shouldn't be having network problem in this 21st century like this.
It's at times like this that you now makes sense when our government comes out to tell us, oh, we can't have a real-time electronic transmission of results for elections, because if I cannot communicate seamlessly with you on a random day like this, it becomes more intense when I'm expecting something of the network. You get, when there's so much expectation, when the numbers, you have more people, the network begins to get clustered, and somehow it will just always disrupt anything called.
And some hackers will want to try their luck that day to experiment.
Absolutely. So we have a long way to go, and I think it's time for our government to start to hold the service providers more accountable, because it looks like we just settle for whatever it is they give to us. There needs to be a standard that is set.
Who is monitoring? Sometimes I ask questions, what's NCC doing?
It's kept. They can't do this in other parts of the world. I don't think South Africa will have something like this.
No, I don't think. No country would take this. But then there is always this accusation that some persons who are supposed to carry out their duty effectively, apart from the fact that they are not being supervised, held accountable, someone who have a good conscience that wants his or her country to work should not wait for somebody to carry cane or supervise you. No, that's what it means. That's the way I think.
Human beings.
Whatever that
sometimes
is not doing,
to get the best of people, you really have to push them.
You
need to set laws.
But is it common to all human? Because I'm different.
Well, we can be distracted. Sometimes we can decide to focus on something else, and we forget that there is something.
But there are
taking
basics.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I tell people every day you need to have a to-do list. This is what I need to do today. All right. Then that helps you with having a focus. So that you don't do too many things at the same time. You know your capacity. Some can multitask. Some can be more effective. Give them one assignment to do. They deliver. Some can do more than 2-3 things at a time, especially women. Anyway, at the workplace because of women just stay and gist.
That's short fire. Yeah. National security. Here's a story of my encounter with insecurity. Some 3 years ago, was it 4 years? Going to 4 years. I realized how porous, Nigeria can be, and how the delay, how the emergency, we don't have a good emergency response in this country. You're going through what you're going through, and there's no.
Sorry, do we have a talk?
I heard that.
No, it's one thing to have, one thing for it not to be good enough.
Well, I saw on the news
because I've seen numbers sometimes. I
saw the news recently. They're trying to push emergency. I think it was on Friday. I saw that news on during our paper review that they're trying, a particular emergency number. The police was saying report cases where that number refuses to respond.
Report the case to
I don't know.
No, if I want to have a special force, all right, for security rescue situations, it's going to be fine. But if you're telling me you're talking about police,
to set up a special agency.
No, we need to set up a special response, right? Maybe in a particular location we can, for people around the Tama axis, you can call this, you can call that, and of course this number and that number. Then fine, then you see response. By the time it happens once, happen twice, you know that it's effective. Because I've heard people say, I've not had that experience and I will never have it by the grace of God. I've heard people say, well, we call the police in times of emergency and they tell us there is no fuel in their car. Or some of them will come 30 minutes after the unscrupulous element have carried out their activities for as long as 45, 51 hours before they arrive. If it is that kind of thing we're talking about, then it's a no-no. But if we can have, like, look at the security situations that we're having. Someone said here, was it yesterday, that in his community, somewhere in, I think, Ogun State, is it Ogun State or Akure else? There used to be a police barrack, but right now the houses are dilapidated. The police post everywhere, nobody there. There is no security presence in that community at all. The only thing they have now, you were here, the only thing they have now is vigilantes. These vigilantes, how intelligent are they? Who trained them? You say they carry shakabola, this pump action. Why this security, these terrorists and kidnappers, you know the kind of weapons they carry. The kind of, so what are we saying? If we can set up, if the federal government, thank God for state policing, we're still waiting to see how they are going to come up. I'm glad that the federal government is also contributing, all right, to the effectiveness, financially, to the effectiveness of this state policing. Maybe from state policing, we can have those ones in the various communities. They employ you and they deploy you to your community where you know every dick and Harry. You know how it happens in the communities. Everybody know who is a thief. If anything gets missing, you know who to accuse. And before you know it, there is a solution. If there is cultism, one thing is this: some of these people perpetrating this evil, some of them go on drugs, and you see them doing the unthinkable because they are being influenced, induced, and all of that. All right. So these are problems. I think Dantata is back. Let's get back to him. It's good to have you back, Saliu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. My colleague was asking a question, and the question is, he was particular about abductors, people who adopt children, Nigerians. They come on social media to put up videos of how they are maltreating probably the adoptees, or maybe force them to say one or two things, some being beaten and all of that. Could that be a strategy, according to her?
No, I'm basically asking, the responses we've gotten so far
from the
government is, them reacting to these videos. We only see them react, when these videos are being put out, and then maybe because it has been brought to the public, and then Nigerians start to, throw their sympathy in, and then the government reacts. But in cases where these videos or this strategy has not been, taken or carried out by the abductors, we see people still in captivity. There are lots of students, Nigerians, still in captivity, basically because they have not come out to cry to the public. Is this supposed to be a norm for us? The response, from the government, is this basically what should draw their responses? How can we even demand better from them?
You see, a step starts from somewhere, the way you emphasized, beyond those of Orire. There are also those of Woro, under Kama local government area of Kwara State, Askira Uba, the Lhasa secondary school children in Borno State, and also for that. But this first step that the government has taken, of course, is showing their enthusiasm, is showing their desire, is showing their preparedness to live up to expectation. So I think, like I said earlier, all we need now is commendation and not condemnation, because we know insecurity is not peculiar to Nigeria alone, and we know when neither federal government nor agencies, none of them is an angel. It is going to extend to the 176 women and children in Askira Uba, Borno. But we also need as the inhabitants of some of these affected areas to extend and display our own, because there are certain related involvement, like who were they were also important, patriotic, because sometimes adoptees don't come to connect.
Thank you. All right. Now, what is your assessment of the government strategy, the security operative strategy, and what the citizens are doing?
Well, my assessment is that the federal government, once for all, and once more is trying to live up to expectation, because with the expertise shown without much casualty, even though we lost a lieutenant of Nigerian Army, then 2 teachers were also killed, but the children in totality were not armed. That showed professionalism, that also showed commitment. As we are moving, show that yes, but the thing is that when it happens, we should try as much as possible to try to fight. For example, like Askira Ubai talking about, before everything is done, let them to fight. You know, terrorists, abandon wildlife. Now, people cannot even plan because of fear of being kidnapped by lack of or by my assessment.
Where we say to be, you know, very intentional about themselves and how they secure themselves. In the midst of it, I'm wondering, recently I saw that they are trying to incorporate, the federal government are trying to incorporate an emergency response. But do you think in a country like Nigeria, an emergency response can thrive, can really work? And if you think so, how can we best go about it to ensure that it really does what it should do? I mean, to save people, to secure people, and to give that prompt response to situations.
Yes, emergency response can go a long way in even scaring them and driving them in. But don't forget, we also in certain areas have, like the GOC said, at initial stage, the Air Force jets and helicopters would not even sight the forest. That is, see what is in the forest, because the Oyo Old National Park is a very, very thick forest. So I think the use of gadgets and the use of groundwater to water dilapidated nature of very, very bad roads. So when you are going to respond to emergency in those kind of roads, if you are not using air, you want to use a ground operation, it is very, very difficult because the roads there are bad. So the issues are with use of gadgets. Yes, the emergency response can give result just the way Jesus result in the rescue of the we are saying different equipment as their counterparts, even though we know
is seriously dragging, and of course we can barely hear you, but then he's saying something that it is workable, like we're saying, but then I think we've actually had situations. We've had situations where there have been responses, all right, responses, but then it's in rare cases.
I think another problem with Nigeria is the fact that we lack data, accurate data to measure progress. Things happen and you really cannot know where to get records to put together to know the progress we are making. We have insecurity right now. We're supposed to be able to measure the progress we've made. We're supposed to set indices to make us track our progress. But we are just determining it. We just at the end of the day determine our progress by the number of people that have been released. We don't know the people that are still in captivity at this point. We don't know people that in the last 1 year, how many Nigerians have been abducted? How many Nigerians have been released? How many Nigerians are still in custody? What was the strategy that we?
I think there was a data recently, the number of people that have been abducted and the number of ransom.
How much has been paid so far? What is the
strategy? I think it was 2.something trillion, if I can remember. If my brain serves me.
Is this coming from the government? Is this capturing the people that have
it was a report done by
their personal monies? How many localities did this? What's the demography of this statistic? We need data. We're in a country that is running without data. How can we make progress? How can we set our modalities right? How can we be able to track successes? How can we say that indeed we are succeeding as a country when we don't have data to back whatever measures, implementations, everything that it is that we are doing? That is the foundation of it all. And until we come to that point where we take data serious as a nation, I don't think we can make so much progress as a country.
No, data is very important because number one, data serves as a guide.
Exactly.
All right. The data helps you to determine the next step.
Exactly.
Data facilitates strategy.
Exactly.
When you have data, you know whether you are growing, you are making progress, or you are retrogressing. Right? Because you have the data, you can track everything, every of your movement. But when there is no data, it's just like you're walking in the dark. All right. Some persons might even come and tell you certain things that are not true.
If you ask me, before the state policing even comes into play, we should be able to run a national census. Let us know the number of people.
I think the last time we had census was 2006.
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
We almost had one in 2025, but then I don't know what happened. There were billboards everywhere. All of a sudden,
how do we send police officers to states that don't even know the number of indigenous citizens that are there? You don't know the villages. You know nothing about the people you're.
They might. I think what will happen is.
It's something like someone that is the cabinet of the president.
No, I'm using sense. God has given us some level of intelligence, so we need to explore every time. What I'm thinking, probably, first of all, the situation is critical, and every critical situation needs an urgent attention. Probably because the situation is critical, the federal government is coming up with this strategy of let's have a state police. At least you know one or two persons in your community. You know how to speak their language. They may want to relate with you more, all right, than an outsider who is being sent from Edo, to Anambra or something. So if we have, census is very important, data is very important, but in the absence of that, if we say we should...
Is there an absence of that? What does it take us to do it?
Since we don't have it now.
We can have it, we can plan for it for the next... It was the same
for the next how many years?
3 months. We can carry out the census. What are you saying? Is the country where you just sign bills all of it overnight is what you cannot have bills
like no. Let's not plan. Let me tell you something. Even in your house, if you want to travel, or do certain things in your house, you know how long it takes you. You're talking about a census that will involve members of the National Population Census, that will involve ad hoc workers, that will involve materials to be used, that will involve mapping. So these things, it's not something you can do in 2-3 months. We need to be frank to ourselves because we are speaking to intelligent Nigerians. So you don't have to wait for people, all right, to be unalive, attack, and properties destroyed while you're waiting. You can put up a measure while you still plan for this census. It's important. Data is important. We can't overrule that. But then this state policing can still be on, all right, while census is being planned to gather data so that you can know that, okay, in this community we have 5 people, but in the recent, after this data collection, it is necessary for us to add 2 more. Then that will necessitate another recruitment. Instead of us waiting for these people to be going into the country, unaliving people, destroying things. Instead of us waiting, it is long overdue. Census is long overdue.
We need to have a strategy. We can't be dealing with security from top down. It has to be grassroots.
And that's the essence of this state.
Let's go to villages. Now,
community policing.
Exactly. Are we sending policies to state governments to just go and stay in the government house, because Senator Natasha she has raised a concern that there's a possibility that these people can be hijacked. I mean, our police by politicians. Before you know, state police, state governors, state assembly members, every person that feels they have a government office would feel entitled to police officers, and then they now send them to their own families and secure them. If we do not strategize about this, that is what will happen. The people that will be in charge of the state policing are those that hold public offices in that state. Those ones will send it to their family members to secure their families, and then the general public can, go to hell for all they like. That is the system we see happen. So what is the strategy about being the state police? Is this something governors are already talking about? Are we waiting for when they now start to think? Because this is time to start thinking about it. How do we send police? What is the network? What is the architecture? How are they going to work with vigilantes? How are they going to work with whichever security outfits you have built? Even if it's to involve private security outfits and have a linkage, because security is everybody's business. Those are the conversation and strategy we need to be having first. Now, while the House of Reps is debating on when to pass the bill and when not to pass the bill, state governors can be strategizing on how effective it can be.
Let me tell you something, because sometimes we educate ourselves. It is common sense that there should be strategy. All right, there should be security strategy. Even if you are appointed, for instance, now, all right, as a chief security officer, you should have a strategy. Before you were even appointed into that position, you must have been interviewed, you must have interrogated with the person that is appointing you.
So I said governors have a strategy already.
Let me tell you something.
That's what
if the federal government is pushing for state policing without a strategy, then it means I don't want to use some adjectives of that. No, there are strategies. I've hosted some program here. Who have said, no, you can't take away the fact that if the federal government, the federal police can be used, all right, you can't take it away completely 100% that it is not possible for the state police to be used by their tax masters or whatever you want to call them, the governors. But then you can't say because I want to defecate now, but I won't go defecate because I'm going to perceive the odor of whatever that's going to come out of my system. You can't stop going to defecate because of that. We can't say because the system, all right, we are thinking.
I'm not saying we should stop policing. I'm saying everything is in place. Can we be working pari passu?
There are strategies.
So there are strategies.
There are strategies. Okay. If I don't know anyone, someone has. I've asked questions. Okay. That's why we are journalists. That's why we are journalists. Someone has said, well, there is going to be a state police commission, just like the way we have at the federal. All right. Some persons have said, well, whether you like it or not, everybody will not be the same. Some governors are not working. There are some that are working. You can't say because these governors are not working, let them not be allocation anymore. The allocations must go because of those that are working. So it is now the responsibility of the higher authorities to do a check and balance, and of course put up apparatus that will be checkmating the activities of these people responsible or directing or handling the affairs of this state police. Because whether you like it or not, they might be used by these governors who are going to be in charge, but the federal government should not hands off completely. And it's part of the reason why the federal government is saying some allocation is going to come to that effect. But then we should also be asking questions. Where have the security vaults that have been going to the governors, what has been being used for in these years? This is now time for the citizens to have the right to confront the governors and said, the security votes, why are these people not dressing well? Why don't we have police station in our community when there are security votes? Then they will hold the governors accountable. But we cannot rule it out completely, looking at the kind of country that we have, that these people might not be used during politics and all of that. You remember just recently, there was this, I don't know if it is working, that all these police, security operating police attached to VIP should be withdrawn, and there was cry from our big brothers at the National Assembly and other VIPs. I don't know how that is going right now. But then all the same, the security of this nation should be number one, because Nigerians need to be protected. Lives and properties needs to be protected. Well, unfortunately, we don't have all the time. Our time is up already. Thank you very much, our guest, for joining us. He's a security expert, and of course, Salihu Dantata was with us, but then network couldn't allow us get the best of him. But all the same, it's splendid that we were able to drive home the conversation, Priscilla and I, alongside with our guest. Everyone, this is the size of the conversation, and we also want to let you know that the opinion of our guest is entirely theirs and not that of Global Television. The newspaper houses have the absolute right, and of course to the editorials. Global Television does not have a contribution to it. From me, it is have a beautiful day ahead of you. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo.
And I am Priscilla Obasi, also wishing you a beautiful day ahead. Bye.